GC on the track, boy.
Hey, and we're live. Welcome to the show, Kym. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, bro. It is a nice sunny day. It's hot. I'm a little bit like sweaty, but apart from that, I'm good. But yeah, man, I want to talk to you about a lot of different things today. I've seen your journey in photography from the start, and I feel like there's so much value you can add to people in terms of just all the topics we've got to talk about today. So the first thing I want to ask you is, who is Kym and what does he do?
Okay, so Kym is a photographer and more a videographer. So just a general content creator. Yeah, based in Manchester, but I cover all sorts of places in the UK.
So pretty much content creator, creating all sorts of content. What kind of content do you normally delve into? What's your favorite?
So normally model portfolio stuff, do a bit of brand stuff. I think my favorite stuff to shoot out of those things on the account is probably the model portfolios. Yeah, I think I like working with people. I like growing with people. I like creating art with people. I think that's probably the most important aspect for me and the most fun aspect where you can you have a goal to get good shots, they have a goal to get good shots, and you're there like just creating and having fun achieving that goal together.
That's so
Uh,
good to hear, man.
yeah,
So let's talk about your journey into photography then. Like, where did you start and how did it all start? Like, what
it's
what inspired you to
mad.
pick up a camera and when did you do it?
Okay, so that story is kind of I think it's an odd story, but I think it's one that a lot of photographers can relate to. I think I've always been a creative, artistic person. I've been in dancing, music, and visual arts, so painting, drawing. So I've always enjoyed making stuff look good. Um, so around like year 10, 11, when I started going to parties with people and stuff like that, friends would keep asking me, "Oh, Kym, here's my phone. Take a picture of us," you know. And I was the one that was like, getting angles and going high and low, and
Perfectionist shots.
yeah. I think just because of the art background, I was aware of negative space and making sure it was exposed and stuff like that. But I thought nothing of it at the time. But people started to say, people just made sure I was the one taking the pictures.
Yeah.
Um, and then how I got into photography specifically was we'd moved from London. So we'd sold our house in London. And for the first time ever, we had a little bit of money saved. Because I could never, in my wildest dreams, have
Yeah.
afforded a camera before.
Yeah.
So as a joke, I was out with a friend. I was in Curry's in Stratford in London, and I was like, "Oh, mum, I've seen this camera here. It's like £400. Could I get it?" And I said it just used to her having to say no to certain things because we couldn't afford it, and she was like, "Yeah, why not? Just get it." And I was like, "What? Really? Yeah, just get it. Just get it." So bought it, but had no idea. I had no knowledge of cameras whatsoever. I didn't know anything about
So
lenses,
how many
all the
years was
other
this
stuff.
ago?
Yeah, this was about 4 years ago.
So you say 4 years ago you really started your enthusiast journey in photography with an actual camera.
Yes, 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 yes. So started then, got the camera, and then I came across Jessica Kobasi and Peter McKinnon on YouTube, and those two inspired me to continue and just keep growing.
They're
I think
so
the main,
good and iconic as well.
yeah,
Shahid's joined the chat and he says, "How's it going, guys? Welcome, bro. If you got any questions for any of us, just shout away, guys." So yeah, like going from that journey 4 years onwards, um, what's changed?
okay. So what's changed? I think apart from just getting better as a photographer in terms of what I do, I've learned to grow outside of the taking the shot side of things. So I've learned to grow as somebody that needs to network with people, as someone that needs to market myself and my business. I think those are the main things I've learned to grow with. Another thing is understanding how valuable my skills are. I think that's a big thing that a lot of photographers have to have to learn and come into themselves, um, because that's when a lot changes for you. When you understand that your skills not everybody has, that's when you know how to market yourself with confidence and work on certain projects.
That's a really good point,
Yeah,
and we'll definitely delve into that a bit more when we talk about the marketing side. But you've pretty much turned your hobby into your job, and that's pretty much everybody's dream in any creative industry, isn't it? So
yeah,
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 Shahid says agree with Kim. YouTube has been monumental in teaching how to use a camera, and the rest is history. I agree. I love YouTube University. It's so good and it's free. So yeah, literally everybody learns so much on there. So me myself included, like. But we both came from humble beginnings on a I used a 10-year-old camera, Jesus, and has had literally one tenth of the features my current one does. But I think just learning about the basics where I am now is like 4 years can teach you a lot of different things. So in those
yeah.
4 years, you said you started yourself a business, you're thinking about networking and marketing. What would you say about the visual art side of it that you were mentioning and describing your style and info? Like, what is your source of inspo and how did you learn to value and separate yourself as I am Kym, the artist, and this is why you should hire me? So, let's look at your page and let's have a see, like, what kind of stuff are you doing, and what kind of just style of photography are you selling to people, and what would you describe it as?
Okay, so in terms of my style as a photographer, I can honestly say that's something that I'm even still adjusting till this day. I think in a generic sense, I know the kind of things that I guess appreciate how they look as much. So I think I've more so figured out the kind of stuff I don't shoot. Um, and I've kind of just narrowed it down to a certain amount of things. So I think I really love vintage looks in terms of I love film,
Mm-hmm.
um, I love the grain and
Definitely
stuff
have
like
that
that.
aesthetic on a lot of your images. Like I
Yeah,
feel like you've got that nostalgia, like atmosphere, like just bleeding into all your pictures.
yeah. I don't really. I think unless it's for a paid project, I wouldn't naturally go towards like an e-commerce clean, bright look. I like quite edgy, grainy, emotional kind of photos.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I tend to shoot. I'd say I'd say like 50 mil and above is my sweet spot. I experimented with 35 mil a while back, and I loved it. Um, but of course, part of the growing as a photographer thing, I started to realize that I needed to adjust my page to attract the kind of clients that I'd want to shoot for.
That's a really good
Um,
point.
so I knew that not a lot of people were coming to me looking for art. They weren't trying to come to pay for art. They wanted things documented. So I think on the business side of things, my style is different to what I like to shoot personally and
Yeah, yeah,
creatively.
yeah.
I think creatively, I stick with 35 mil. I like the lens distortions on that, and I love the dark, moody, grainy tones. So that's the style that's close to my heart.
That's so good, man. And I think when I see your picture, I know it's yours. And I think when other people tell you that, you just know you're developing that unique selling point.
Mm-hmm.
The whole idea of like, Instagram is a marketplace and people are here for different reasons. There are a lot of people on Instagram who want this kind of content and
Yeah,
love film, love vintage aesthetic looks, and they want it to be like reminiscent of like what you can create on film, but without losing the quality. You get a lot of benefits
yeah,
on shooting with digital. Like you can get that crazy sharp focus at high resolution, and you don't miss
yeah.
focus pretty much, right? But on film, it's like you get one shot. You don't know how
Yeah,
it's gonna
it's a
turn
bit
out
hit or miss.
sometimes. And like during stuff like this pandemic, how long do you have to wait till you get it developed? You got to finish for the whole. It's still good shooting on film, but it's good that the option is there to hire someone out who can do things like that. So I'm guessing you get
Yeah.
influencers, bloggers, just creators coming to you who want themes like you're creating here.
Yeah, I have it sometimes. I've got projects coming soon that are gonna be really. I think lately I've been posting a lot of stuff to kind of attract like e-commerce clients to shoot for brands and stuff like that. And I feel like I've deviated slightly from a style that my followers fell in love with. But I've got to find a balance between catering to my audience as well as
Mm.
promoting the business.
Yeah, and you've
So
got your own experimental stuff that you kind of do, which
yeah,
is cool, like self
yeah,
portraiture. I think that's
mm,
really cool, especially when the photographer is in the image as well, because it's so difficult to do, isn't
yeah. So I've got a set of projects coming up where the person I'm working with has kind of said yes, 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 yes to a bunch of really old school vintage, like really moody stuff that we're gonna try.
it?
So the way I work is I like to get loads of stuff done in one shoot.
That's the best way,
So
yeah.
yeah, there's loads of content coming in the old style that my followers fell in love with me for. So
Yeah, that's so good, Tim, and I'm excited to see what kind of stuff you're gonna bring to the table. But
I
your
appreciate it.
nostalgic vintage look is pretty much, you know, iconic, and I think everybody kind of realizes when it's your work just
Thank
because of
you.
like, and the HDR, you know, not a double exposure that you do, and
Oh yeah,
just those
yeah,
kind of like iconic tones. I think it's good to separate yourself as a photographer because the industry can be so saturated. So we all
yeah,
need to be able to sell ourselves individually just as much.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
good. It's good that you're thinking about both business and art. So, you know, talking about the business element, what was your next steps into turning it into like, you know, your passion, your job, and how did that happen? How did you start going from enthusiast to experimenting to now I'm actually getting paid for this? It's pretty cool.
Mm. I think the journey. So the journey started when I noticed certain things. Um, I think a pivotal moment for me was I shadowed a wedding photographer. I do weddings. Weddings is kind of the goal and the place that I want to be in. Um, so
Your
yeah, I
style
shadowed.
fits really well in wedding as well.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Um, so yeah, I was shadowing this guy, and I hate to. I'm usually a very 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 subjective, nice, positive person. Where when certain things don't look normal, as someone that's always done visual arts, I'm always the person to say, "Oh, I could see where you were going with that. I could, if you twist it to the left and so." But yeah, I worked with this person and their work, it lacked certain fundamental strengths in the sense that the images, a lot of them were like blown out, overexposed, blurry.
Was this like a wedding
Uh,
photographer you were shadowing?
yes, yes.
So they were already established and they were on the job.
Already established, 30 years shooting, over 10 years in the wedding business.
Hmm.
And this was the person's best work on their website, right? But working with them, they'd obviously spoken to me about the things that they'd achieved. And looking at this person, he was making like 40, 50 grand a year doing weddings
That
and
looks really attractive, doesn't it?
yeah, traveling around the world all the time. And I thought, if he can do it with that work, there's no way I can't do something similar. There's no way I can't do half of it. So that was pivotal for me. That helped me to see that because up until that point, I'd always been told by big creative influencers, like in YouTube and things like that, if you just post consistently and post good work, the opportunities will come, and that
Hmm.
just wasn't the case.
Yeah,
It
I
just
don't know.
wasn't the case.
I don't think the industry is this living, breathing charity organization that hands the opportunities on a plate.
I
You've got to
know.
go out and get it.
Yeah.
Jed says so
Um,
interesting, similar experience here. Mad. So it's like
yeah.
a lot of like the new wave photographers are shadowing a lot of these iconic, established ones, and
Yeah.
finding out that maybe there's a lot more room on the table for us to do a lot more and get the same, you know, amount of opportunities back.
Yeah. So yeah, notice that, and so that lesson kind of taught me that if my work was really good and I still wasn't being paid for it or even inquired about, that there was something missing. I was posting consistently and all this other stuff. Um, so that helped me to keep going for something more. Um, and then I think the next milestone as well was about recently, about 6 months to a year ago. Um, I figured out how to grow my account to get thousands of followers.
Mm-hmm.
Because all over the years, this is what I'd been taught was the goal, the key to success: get
That's what was
followers
missing, just
and
marketing. Like your
get
skills
likes.
and talent is there, but if nobody can see you, then it's just gonna be wasted opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's what I thought was the goal, and eventually I hit 10,000 followers. And in my mind, it was literally like, okay, I'm at 9,999. Once I hit 10K, I'm gonna get DMs every single day. We
Yeah,
want we want to pay you all the time to shoot all this
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. hit 10K and nothing changed. So that was like it hit me like a ton of bricks in the sense that it was another
Yeah.
thing that I'd worked towards and didn't bring me what I thought it would bring me.
I think it doesn't even matter at this point about the amount of followers you have. It's all about how you direct yourself in this industry and how you market yourself. You know.
Yes, yes. There's no good having. So what at that point, I had 10,000 followers, and none of them wanted to pay me for my work. So at that point, I started to learn that having 10,000 followers wasn't as valuable as having 5 or 10 people
Who
that
would
were
be
willing
willing
to
to
pay
pay me?
you
Yeah,
consistently
exactly.
for your
Yeah.
work. So, oh, so that was another milestone for me. And then I think things changed when I started to learn about Facebook ads and started to meet people and find out what they were doing. I think a big helpful tip for anybody in any career is to find someone that's living your ideal life and give them value in exchange for their knowledge so that you can
Yeah.
literally copy that blueprint and get yourself to where they are without having to make years of mistakes
Yeah,
before that.
because time is so valuable, and you know, if you
Yeah.
can get there earlier, how long can you then spend in that field, maturing in your own space, right? So,
Mhm.
Jed says, "Are weddings still your goal?"
Yes, yeah, 100%. Weddings, I'm at a stage now where um, I wouldn't say perfected, but I've definitely um, found and figured out a marketing strategy that involves Facebook ads. Um, and so what that does is that brings me inquiries, but those bookings don't get me the money payment until next year, for example. So I've
Yeah.
got loads of bookings for next year,
Yeah.
but not enough now.
Yeah, I
So
think just because of what's going on, naturally, a lot of like
yeah,
postponed events are gonna happen. But it's good to
of
see that you
course.
still got things to look forward to
Yeah, yeah.
next year. And you know, like these tools are like available to everybody, right? And they're free to
Hmm.
use. And it's like you were saying, online marketing is the next big thing because it's so much cheaper than traditional marketing. So you'll go shadow like your traditional photographer who's been in the industry for 30 years. They probably had to pay so much money to advertise on a radio, so much money to advertise on flyers,
Oh yeah,
billboards, all these different things. But if you use like Facebook marketing, it's like you were saying, you can really set your
and
advert to a niche within a niche within a niche, and now you found your audience.
yeah, Facebook is just a powerful tool where you can literally search for people that are going to be most likely to pay you. So, as a wedding photographer, I can run Facebook ads promoting my website to people who are engaged and in a certain age group and in a certain location.
Most
And
likely to get married very soon, or this, and
yeah,
personality
yeah,
traits. These are the things a lot of people don't like
yeah,
think towards. Like you know, I use Facebook ads as well myself, and it's like you'd go in the menus and there's like personality traits, there's age, there's gender, there's all these different things, and it's like doesn't matter what you do, you could be like a chef and you can
hmm,
literally, you know, make an ad for someone who likes a flavor of ice cream
yeah,
and it's ridiculous. You know, so it sounds bad, like double-edged sword. Like they've got so much data, but you may as well just benefit.
yeah, 100%.
So I think marketing yourself is one of your selling points of how you got to where you are and turning it into a business. Would you say most of your jobs come through like social media?
At the moment, I think all my weddings come through the Facebook ads at the moment. You know, one or two coming from friends that are getting married. Um, and then on the brands and model side of things, yeah, most of my stuff comes from Instagram and networking. That's another thing I think I need to give more credit to in the sense that um, I've started to learn that you may not get an opportunity from this person, but this person may know that person who knows that person that can help you out. So I shot for Fashion Week earlier this year in London, and I got that opportunity because I'd worked with a model who was part of an agency who then sent me to shoot in Fashion Week to document their models. So it had like 3 or 4 levels to it in terms of the people that you know. So yeah, it's I think networking, Facebook ads, are the two biggest things that have helped me to make this become a business.
That is wicked. Shahid says this is a really interesting topic and just proves the highs and lows of vanity metrics when we were talking about shadowing people. And yeah, mentor mentee 101% definitely. It's so good to have someone you can bounce off in the industry because there's
Yeah,
no one blueprint that fits everybody. Like you got to really kind of learn how to fail before you can succeed.
a
And
hundred
that's
percent.
and that's what it's all about. Failing can be very expensive because you can get your campaign sorted on Facebook ads, but you won't necessarily know how it works until you lose some money. And I think during the
Yeah,
course of just starting out myself in like experimenting with Facebook marketing, I had no idea how that algorithm's gonna work. And that algorithm at first is like just going everywhere, and then it tells you all the results, and you're like, okay, don't go here next, don't go. And you see all the money you're saving,
yeah,
and now it's like it's so cost effective that I have a small budget every month
hmm
just to keep it rolling, and it's like in the background it's doing everything automatically for me, and
yeah,
on the side it brings me jobs that I don't have to then go out personally. I still do network like you're saying, from word of mouth, from peoples and connections. This is stuff you all have to do, but it's good to
of
know that you've
course.
got this little AI mentor just looking out for you in your back.
Yeah, I mean, I think networking I first learned when we worked together. That's when I first got a taste of its value. Um, I think what changed things for me is that we did the shoot together with uh, you know, other models. Ah, trying to remember. Yeah, Dutch, and we did the shoot, and I remember I saw you shoot.
Shameless plug here, but I think you've actually got on your feed where we did that shoot. Are you talking about the one where we both shot each other?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or
I think did we do that in the same day, or did we
I
do that a
think
different
yeah,
day?
it was the same day because we met up
Yeah,
first. But yeah, that was like
yeah, yeah,
it was really that was for me, it was really early networking as well. It was just like yeah, there we go.
yeah.
Reaching out to each other and being like, yeah, let's both shoot the same model, but then it turned out to be, why don't we also shoot each other just to see what it's like?
Yeah, it got
Um,
big, and I think what I learned on that day was how quickly you can fast track things just because you're working with somebody that may just be one step ahead of you.
yeah,
So with what like the biggest thing I picked up on that day was videoing. So I remember you were shooting B-roll of me,
yeah, I
and
was, yeah. There you are.
I saw the footage and I was like, this is amazing. You've done it in slow mo and everything. And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, this looks like blockbuster cinematic level stuff. How are you doing that? And
Thanks, man.
you just you showed me the buttons you've done. And I thought, my camera has that, doesn't it? And then you
Yeah,
showed me
yeah.
on mine. And by the end of that day, I'd gone home thinking, okay, let me look at this, because before I'd met you and shot with you and you showed me that, I know for a fact I wouldn't have in my wildest dreams considered looking at video for at least months or maybe even years after that, because
Yeah.
I thought you needed, a red
A
camera and this and
separate
that,
video
the other.
camera and like well
Yeah,
here's the thing. You might need it for like TV and you might need it for like some
of
big
course.
productions, but if you're a digital content creator, entry level cameras are still way better than a phone. I mean that gap is
Yeah.
slowly closing to some degree,
Mhm.
but you can spend £1,000 on a phone, or you can spend a £400 on camera and still
Yeah.
get better quality than a phone, and you get slow motion and you get better
100%.
done all this stuff, and it's like it stands out on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that was the first time I was like, okay, so I've met this person, and for no cost at all, I've learned that I can shoot video as well, and it's now something I can charge for. But I know that if you hadn't planted the idea on that day, I may still not have been charging for
It,
videos to
it
this
might have
day.
just taken you a little bit longer to think about it. That's all. I think you would have eventually found out because I think
Yeah,
all photographers eventually get that itch, like, okay, I can do photo. Why can't I do video?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So networking, that was, yeah, our shoot was the first time I was like, okay, there's value in meeting people. So
Yeah, 100%. And we obviously went up to bigger networking events that was hosted by Liam, and that one it was just even
yeah,
more people, and it's just like having a playground to experiment with for free rather than reaching out to
yeah,
like 20 models in a day and they're not just gonna come just for you. You know, it's like, okay, cool, I can just freely explore what works and what doesn't, and you get free content.
yeah,
So yeah, there's a lot there, isn't there? Like networking,
100%.
marketing, and building your unique selling point. Shoot like
Yeah,
the clients you want to work with, and
and
just
don't worry about the followers. I get too many
yeah, yeah,
DMs asking me, how do I get 10K? How do I get more followers? And as somebody that was DMing people that a year ago,
yeah, yeah,
now that I've achieved it, I'm at 17K, I can now tell people it doesn't make a difference.
yeah.
You
On your
need to
return on investment.
find the right people that are going to pay you for your work.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're going to be famous and broke.
that's so true, and I think there's a lot of people who will probably end up going down that path because it's an attractive shortcut. But
Yes.
it's like you said, like I think it's better if you just work smart and
Yeah.
play the long game, which is way better.
Hmm.
So Shahid says, I'm envious. This is the stage I want to take next. Facebook ads has to be crucial stage for myself included. That shot is fire. Thanks, bro. And I think literally, if everybody else does a simple YouTube search or just literally talk to someone who's an expert
Hmm.
on Facebook marketing and just literally like create a piece of um, video or an image that just captures someone's attention, give
Yeah.
yourself a call to action. That's it. You just need someone to click on your page, and once they've done that, you're already like 5 steps ahead of where you were and got more
Yeah.
chance of getting that job, right?
Yeah.
So since then you've moved on further into expanding your platform. You're doing your photography, you've got your weddings, you're
Hmm.
also like on TikTok. Like, how did that happen, and what is the benefits of TikTok? So I'm gonna jump onto
Okay.
your page.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
TikTok. So yeah, this is a big thing. Like, I've the closest I've gotten to TikTok right now. I'm not gonna lie. I've just made an account.
Okay.
I'm literally so busy that I want to do a lot of the TikTok stuff, but I'm just like, I'm gonna use this podcast today to like inspire me to actually get a move.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, let's talk through it. Like, why is TikTok like the next big thing for photographers, and why should we all be on it?
Okay. So, okay, before we start, if I'm still looking at this starting soon page, right? Is the TikTok page up?
Yeah, are you there?
I'm still seeing the starting soon thing.
No. On YouTube, everybody else can see your TikTok.
Oh,
Uh,
mad. Okay. I'm
maybe
not
uh,
doing
maybe uh, yeah, it might have to like refresh your page, but yeah, I'm on your TikTok page, and I've muted it just because of the sound and everything.
that. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah,
There it is.
yeah,
There we
you
go.
can see it. All
Yeah,
right,
got it.
cool.
Got it. Okay. So, sorry. How did I
That's all
get
right.
into TikTok?
Yeah, yeah.
It started with some. I can't remember. It was some kind of motivational speaker or just some kind of influencer that was basically saying that there was a potential for you to have no followers and still get millions of views. So I thought to myself, hold on, that sounds nothing like Instagram. Um, so it piqued my interest, but not enough to actually make an account at that point. I then saw videos on my YouTube that were recommended on people trying how to get TikTok famous in 7 days and stuff like that. They
Right,
were
little
like
challenges.
experiments. Yeah, yeah. Where they'd say, okay, my goal is to get 100,000 in 7 days, and I would look at it and I would just, yeah, of course you are. But I'd watch it, and most of them wouldn't hit their goals, but some of them, although they didn't hit the 100K mark, would get 50K or 80K.
That's still a lot.
Yeah, and I'm like, 7 days, 80K,
In
and I
in
watched
seven
them.
days.
Yeah, and I made sure to check that they weren't famous beforehand. So I made sure to check their subscribers, check their followers, check all that other stuff to make sure they weren't already famous, just bringing audiences over to TikTok. And yeah, most of them or all of them had no audiences before that. So I was like, okay, so this is something people can achieve, but I'm sure it's just luck. I'm sure it's just chance, I should say.
Mm. Mm.
Um, so again, I still wasn't quite convinced. But what did convince me was this one guy in particular. I'd come across his YouTube channel, and the video was entitled um, something like "How I Got to a Million on TikTok." And he started the video by saying, "All right, guys, this is the first ever YouTube video I've ever made. I told you if I hit a million on TikTok that very day, I would make this account, and here I am." So he tells this story, but I go straight to checking dates and times to see how long it took him. So he started his account, I think, in June of last year, and I was watching this video in December. So that told me from June to December, he'd hit a million followers.
That's
I
a lot.
then,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the other thing that like was like the nail in the coffin for me was I saw his subscriber count and he had about 40 or 50,000 subscribers. So I was watching the video 2 weeks after he had posted it, which is the day he'd started his channel.
Right.
So I did the maths and realized that he had built the account to a million, but in 2 weeks he had 50,000 subscribers. Now
That's
everyone
crazy.
knows subscribers is the hardest thing to generate.
What is this on TikTok?
Yeah, so I was watching the YouTube video where he explained what he did. Like he was basically explaining his journey. But what had intrigued me was the fact that in 2 weeks he'd gained 50,000 subscribers, and I knew it had to have been from TikTok.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, okay, so there's not only an opportunity to blow up on here, get more
Wow,
inquiries.
you can also redirect traffic.
There we go. So the traffic was even if TikTok dies tomorrow, he's still got millions of fans that will follow him on Instagram, subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Never know.
And
Some of
those,
them might be potential clients as well, right?
of course, and monetized audience for ads and all that other stuff. So yeah, literally I watched that video on the bus, and before I'd even walked home, I'd created an account and I was ready. And I think the other thing that made me so interested was that a video that he said helped him to blow up in the beginning was a video. He's colorblind, so the video was just of him sorting out Skittles into color, but because he's red-green colorblind, the reds and the greens he couldn't differentiate between them. So literally a few seconds video, but that got like 3 million views in an hour or something like that.
No way.
And that I was like, wait, so he didn't do some amazing, he didn't climb Mount Everest, he didn't, he didn't do something that was out of this world that only one person could achieve, kind of thing. And that helped me to see that it was something I could at least attempt to achieve.
Yeah.
So that combined with all the other success stories of kids trying it out and getting thousands of followers in a few days.
Literally overnight, little TikTok stars overnight.
Yeah, so literally got started, and I think from there, the what helped me to have a good start is I didn't go on TikTok and waste time posting what I wanted. I went straight on TikTok. Before I'd made a single post, I searched #photographer, looked at the top ones at the time who had even millions of followers, and just looked exactly at what they were posting and knew, okay, so that's what I've got to do. Because I was like, how am I gonna, I take still images. How am I gonna survive on a video platform?
I mean, you're doing really well now because you learned video, didn't you?
But even without it, what I'd learned from looking at what they were doing is that they were doing this thing where they would put like a 5 second video that somebody shot on their phone behind the scenes, and then when the music drops, they would then reveal the final image.
Oh,
And
I see, I see, I see.
yeah, that has been the best template I've seen of photographers, where
Yeah,
people want to see the behind the scenes. They want to see how you did
yeah,
it.
because it's quick, bite-sized information that you may not have time for on YouTube. You may not have time to see it all on Instagram, but it's like bite-sized, easy to just absorb information, and it's entertaining because now you've got music, you've got all these little
Yeah,
tutorials, isn't it? It's like people can ingest it very quickly and then go out and try it, and I think that's the beauty of TikTok. Like,
yeah,
makes it more engaging, whereas
palatable.
On Instagram it's like, you're watching a famous photographer, it's like I am here and they are there, and it's so hard to like relate.
Yes,
But on
yeah,
TikTok,
always.
with the music, with the funny quirky personality, like it's like,
Yeah,
oh well, they could do it, why can't I do it, right?
yeah. I think the biggest thing, the biggest difference between the two platforms for me is that they are opposite ends of the same thing. That's
Yeah,
how I've seen
I
it.
agree, yeah.
TikTok is where you find videos of people struggling to learn a song on the piano and then
Yeah.
figuring it out, or
Yeah,
you see
that's
people.
a good point as well, because on Instagram we only normally see like all the highs and the successes and the highlights of everybody's lives, but on TikTok it's
Yeah,
like failures are actually like awarded. Like people actually enjoy seeing like
yeah,
how you might mess
in,
up, and it ends up we just all laugh together at it. Like,
yeah. Instagram, I think, is the finished product. Instagram is where people post their best stuff,
yeah,
even for models, whatever. That's where they post the full makeup, full, photoshopped version. But TikTok is where they show the behind
the
the scenes of the
bridge in
makeup. It's
between.
where they
Yeah,
show their struggle stories before they became successful, stuff like that.
yeah,
So,
makes it more
yeah,
relatable for your audience.
a
That is so
million percent.
cool to hear, man. And it's just like, another extension to add on to yourself in terms of marketing. So,
Yeah, yeah.
from here onwards, then, what are your goals for the future going onwards?
Goals for the future. In the immediate, I want to hit 100K on TikTok.
You get there
Um,
easily this year.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm at 60K now, almost 60K, and I've got some ideas that I'm actually going to start posting today that should help me to grow even quicker. So 100K on TikTok, and I think um, I want to really niche down and go hard with my Facebook ads so that
Yeah,
it just gets faster and faster. Um, yeah, I think those are the main goals for me at the moment.
building your brand image and just continuing to grow.
100%.
Wicked.
Yeah.
100% it will happen. It already is. I think TikTok is my goal, my future goal right now. From seeing what you've got today, I've got so much BTS videos. I don't even need to go out and film. So I was just like,
I
why can I
know
not just chop it up and like make
you can.
something? So
100%,
I
bro.
think I'm gonna get some more free time this week now. I'm gonna try and see if I can get something. I'm gonna try. That's my goal. Is one TikTok video this week. I'll see what I've learned from this podcast, and I'll be like, right, y'all need to go to Kym. Yeah, he's a good one. So if it works. So what's been your experience then post lockdown, and how are you easing back in?
Okay, I think post lockdown. So there's been this one thing that has kind of made lockdown drag on for me as a photographer, and I wouldn't have imagined it would have been something that would affect things, but barbershops not being open
Yeah, I feel you. Don't
has
worry.
meant loads of it's meant loads of models that were booked and loads of shoots that were booked, even engagements that I had booked. They're
Hmm.
delaying because they don't think they look good, so they don't have barbers, they don't have salons and things like that.
Salons. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so difficult. I mean, wait, barbers are now open in the UK, but nail shops and salons aren't, are they?
I have no idea.
I
I've got to
can't
read
remember.
the news a bit
Yeah,
more.
but
Um,
it's crazy. Yeah,
but over the
definitely.
past few weeks, it's been delaying stuff. Um, so yeah, things are starting to open up now. I think lockdown has been really good for me personally, where I think if lockdown hadn't happened, I probably would have continued to delay making a TikTok. I would have continued to delay working on the website, the ads, and things like that. I started email marketing as well. Um, so, yeah, lockdown has kind of given me hibernation time to work on the back end of things. So, post lockdown is still kind of going on for me, because when stuff is like fully open,
Mm,
I want to be able to hit the ground running with a
yeah.
new business model.
Yeah, I think right now everybody's just still adjusting because we don't know whether we're
Yeah.
gonna go back in. It could be that we might, but glad to see we're at least all out again, just
Mhm.
creating content. Maybe just like finding those new avenues and everything.
Yeah.
Um, Shahid says I look forward to it. Is nice.
Yeah.
So for sure, man. Like I think yeah, some cities have locked down a lot harsher than others. So I think in Manchester area, and my experience has been that more and more people are starting to just get a bit more comfortable again. Don't know whether that's a good thing or not, but I see that there is a lot more interest in demand in creating content and wanting it. So I think hopefully this summer will actually, you know, fingers
Yeah.
crossed. See. So last pieces of advice, man, for anyone who is thinking about starting photography right now, post lockdown. What advice would they? Yeah, they've got a small budget. They don't have the most expensive camera. They may not have a camera. Is
Mhm.
photography still an avenue as a business post lockdown, post pandemic? Is it even viable option for even jumping into this profession if not already established?
Yeah, I think it is. I think lockdown. I don't think in any or on the most part, I don't think lockdown is going to permanently affect any kind of business sector, like forever kind of thing. I think eventually things will go back to normal. Of course, in some places, they'll have certain new measures in place that will improve on things. But in terms of photography, for somebody that's a beginner, um, one thing I've been promoting a lot is the Canon 50mm f1.8. It's less than £100 brand new,
Nifty
and
50 lens.
the nifty 50. It's
It
held
is
us all
really
down at
affordable.
some point.
Yeah.
So yeah, that even secondhand, which I don't think you even need to do because it's so cheap for what it does.
Mm.
Um, Getting that nifty 50, and then any cheap secondhand EOS Canon camera that fits it. I
Yeah.
think that's the best combo for you to have to
They're really,
start.
really cheap. Yeah, the entry level Canon lenses and the camera, and there's so much range. Like you can even get like vintage lenses. They may not have autofocus, but it's good for like just video, aren't they? Like if you just
Yeah,
if you don't mind like doing your focus stuff, like you can get photography on such a budget, make money from it, and then upgrade later down the line.
yeah, yeah. So um, the 50 mm, any Canon camera that fits it is the best thing I'd recommend to start. I don't think at an entry level, bodies have as much an effect on your images as your lenses do.
Especially if
Um,
it's just for digital content. You know what? We do all this legwork and it gets downscaled, compressed, pixelated to Instagram. You're
don't
like,
get me
well,
started.
that was nice. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's a great piece of advice, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, bro. I'm looking forward to
appreciate
seeing more tips on TikTok, and I'll be paying attention. And thanks for asking all the questions, guys. And for anyone else watching this after the stream, all links are in the description, and the timestamps are there. So I'll see you guys in the next one. And yeah, thanks again, Kym. It's been fun.
I appreciate it, bro. Have a good
See
one.
you later, one. Bye.
CC on the track, boy.